Hello again, it's Jess or JashiiCorrin, and in today's video I'm going to be setting up for November 2018 in my bullet journal. But before we get into that, as per usual, we're going to have a flip through of October. So as you'll remember from my last monthly plan with me, for October I was going for a Halloween inspired theme. Although we don't really celebrate Halloween here in New Zealand, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to do a theme like this in my journal. So to start with, we have my splash page, my monthly log, my habit tracker, which I split into two sections, the bottom one being tasks that either were or weren't done, and the top section being ones that can kind of be graded on a scale. For my scale, I went with purple being the best or completed to the most extent, all the way through to grey, which was the worst or not really completed at all. Up next we have my social media scheduler, followed by my meal log, and then my separate mood tracker and notes page. I'm really loving this mood tracker. I know it's really stereotypical for what's in the bullet journaling community at the moment, but I think that it's really cute, and I like how it has all of the different bottles. As you can see, a lot of these spreads aren't quite filled in yet, because at the time of filming this, it's actually the 21st of October. After my main monthly pages, we then jump into my weekly style spreads. So for October, instead of doing formal weeklies, I instead went for daily checkboxes that were held on these Dutch door style layouts. So on this first page here, I have the weather for the month along with a running to-do list. And then after this, it's just those daily checkboxes. For this back page here, we just have the rest of what's going to be my running to-do list, and then this section on the side that I haven't quite decided what I want to use for yet. Some other spreads that I also included in October were my 19 goals before 2019, for which I still have a few goals to think of, some notes I took from a video I was watching, and then my monthly review page. To finish off October, we also have this page which I'm using to plan out for November. As you can see here, my intention for November is to kind of have a succulents theme without going too hardcore on the doodling. In November, my senior students will have left for their exams, so I know I'm going to have a lot more time at school to get things done. So my focus for the month is going to be productivity and also reflection. As per usual, I've decided on my colour palette ahead of time, so for this month coming, I'm going to be using this mint green colour, which is Tombow 243. This kind of darker green, which is 312, this pale purple 603, a darker purple shade 636, and then this purplish blue, which is 565. I've also decided that I'm going to be using the light blue shade 553. Before we get started, just a reminder that any of the equipment I use in today's setup will be linked in the description box below. A little bit different to the past few months, today I'm going to be starting with my cover page. For this I'm just writing out November in simple cursive, and then sectioning off the space around it using some double lines. Around this section I'm drawing various succulents and plant matter. Drawing succulents isn't really something I specialise in, so these don't necessarily resemble actual plants. To make sure that I got my spacing right and that I had good variation in my succulents, I went in and did this in pencil first. Overall, I'm actually really happy with how this turned out, even though some of them do look a little bit munted. As per usual, I'm using my Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens for all of my black outlining. With the line work done, I went in with my Tombow dual brush markers to add some colour. I wanted my neighbouring plants to not only alternate in the colours, but also in the shades. So you'll see that I've tried to go dark light, and also in the order of green next to purple next to blue. As the purple colour is quite dark, for the plants that were going to be in that darker purple shade, I actually blended this with the lighter purple. Drawing succulents in my bullet journal has actually been something I've been avoiding for quite a while, literally only because of how popular they seem to be in the bullet journaling community. I've never really been a fan of doing something just because it's popular. However, I felt that the colour palette I picked out for this month really did suit this kind of theme. With the splash page done, it was time to move on to my monthly log. For November, I'm sticking with a one-page monthly, and going back to that classic vertical layout. On the right-hand page, I'm putting my habit tracker, and although I don't know what habits I'm going to be tracking yet, I have space for 13 different ones. This tracker is the same style that I used in July. I mimicked the simple cursive I had on my splash page to do the title for this one. To make sure that the weekend days stood out the most, I went in with that mint green Tombow to highlight those sections. I decided to put in some of the events that I have coming up in November, making sure to have a look at my future log to remember when these actually were. Even though I did this, I managed to get some of the dates wrong, got a little bit overexcited with putting in my meetings for school, and so I know I already have some events that I'm going to need to cross out later. In November, some exciting things I have coming up include my friend's wedding and a weekend getaway with my friends. Next, it was onto my steps and mood trackers. Although I'd already laid out my washi tape on the last page, I hadn't already done this for the rest of the spreads. So you'll see here that I'm going in and laying down some thin coloured mint washi at the top and the bottom of both pages. I've also decided to use July's step tracker style for November. The numbers at the top of this page represent how many thousands of steps I did that day. So 1 for 1,000, 2 for 2,000, and so on and so forth. Because I super love my creative mood tracker for October, I wanted to do something similar for November as well. For this one, I'm going in and drawing out some shelves again, but this time I kind of wanted to make them look like hanging shelves, so I've connected them with a chain link-like pattern. Across all of my shelves, I'm going to have 30 plants, which will hold my version of a succulent. Each day, I'll go in and colour in the leaves of the succulent, depending on what my mood was for the day. For those of you guys who do keep a mood tracker, do you colour it in just in one colour each day? Or do you use multiple for the multiple moods that you might have in a day? I'd be curious to know, so let me know in the comments section below. After writing out the title in that same simple cursive, it was time to get my plants drawn in. Although in October I tried to think of 31 different potion bottle shapes for my tracker, I wanted to keep things a little bit more simple in November and just go with 6 different styles of plant. This worked nicely because I have 6 plants per row, so I could just offset the plants from one row to the next to make the spread look pretty alright. Also a little bit different to October, for November I decided to number the pot plants, so it was really easy to see at a glance which pot corresponded to which day. Overall, I'm really super happy with how this one turned out. As I said before, plant life doodles really aren't my thing, but I think this one actually turned out super pretty. Somewhat related but not really, over on my Instagram I'm almost at 10,000 followers, which is an amazing milestone for me. And I was thinking, as part of my 10k giveaway, I might include the cactus and succulent edition of the Botanical Line Drawing book by Peggy Dean. If this was something you'd be interested in, make sure to let me know in the comments below, and also go follow me over on Instagram for your chance to win. I used a couple of Tombow dual brush markers to colour in the pots for this spread. And then with that done, it was on to my social media scheduler. Although I've kept my scheduler pretty much the same for the past few months, for November I'm going to be trying a few different things. For November I'm thinking about doing daily videos in which I show you guys how I use my journal on a day-to-day basis. This is something I've been interested in doing for a while, and a thought that I threw to you guys in one of my past videos. To reflect this, for my social media tracker in November, I've included a column that's just for the filming, editing and uploading of my daily YouTube videos. Along with this, I still have my columns related to my Instagram posting and Instagram stories, but I've taken out my section for Facebook, mostly because I found I wasn't really using it so much, so I didn't really see the point of dedicating so much space to it. I've also decided to extend out my milestone tracker, so I have space to write down my counts for the 15th of the month as well. I also have a nice large section down the bottom right hand corner for notes. With the final touches added on this one, it was time to get started on my meal log. My meal log is the most basic spread that I have in this setup, but it's one that I've actually been quite enjoying using. In October I didn't split my meals up into breakfast, lunch, dinner and snack, and I found this actually made it a lot harder to make sure I was keeping track of my meals properly. So for November I've decided to bring those columns back. I find that this spread helps me not only to be a little bit more mindful of what I'm eating, even if it doesn't necessarily change my eating patterns, but it also makes it easier to remember what I spend my money on, considering most of what I spend my money on is food. The last layout we have for this setup is my 1 word a day spread. This is something I've seen pop up a lot on Instagram at the moment, and the results are absolutely awesome. People are doing some really cool things with different fonts, different calligraphy styles, and I thought it was just a really nice way to summarize a day without having to go into too much detail. For this one, I've just drawn out 30 boxes across the 2 pages. Each of those boxes is 8 across by 5 down. As per my last spreads, I'm just using my Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen to do the outline for these boxes. Of course, it wouldn't be one of my monthly setups if I didn't make a large mistake, so for this one, instead of writing 1 word a day, I wrote 1 line a day. At this stage, it doesn't bother me enough to actually go in and fix it, but I have a feeling that before November starts, I probably will go in and make sure that I fix that one up. Alrighty, and that's where we're going to leave it for today. So we have my splash page for November, my monthly log and habit tracker, with my habits yet to be decided, my steps and mood trackers, my social media scheduler, my meal log, and my slightly incorrectly titled 1 word a day spread. Thank you for watching. If you had any thoughts, comments or feels, please do leave them in the comments section below. And if you liked today's video, please do make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel to see the videos I release every Thursday and Sunday. And until next time, bye!